Welcome to Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. I'm Colleen St. and I will be the host for this podcast. My aim is to provide you with the guidance and support through life's challenges, spiritual development, change, healing, and growth. Drawing from over 2 decades of experience as a spiritual practitioner, I will share my wisdom and offer answers to the questions that may weigh heavy on your heart and your mind. Remember that you are not alone, you are capable, and the light within you is unstoppable. Hello, and welcome to this first episode of Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. I am Colleen St. And I'm so grateful to have you here listening or watching today as we are kicking off this new platform. And my intention behind Ask Colleen it's huge because for me, support is everything. And that's really what I want this platform, this podcast to be informative and supportive. Because I remember going through my spiritual awakening, going through all the different phases of shifting my vibration, shifting my energy, my purpose coming into my power of understanding my life and my soul's reason for being here. And I understand how lonely that can be. I understand how confusing that can be. I've had the privilege of being a spiritual mentor, a spiritual guide, and having a private practice for decades and sitting with over 100,000 guests. And in that experience, that privilege of being on the front lines and hearing the questions that my guests have asked me over the years, that has privileged me to be in the universe's classroom, where I was channeling messages from our loved ones crossed and channeling messages from the angels that we have surrounding us. So this platform truly is from my heart to your spirit and your soul to help you on any level that I can. Whether you call in and you ask questions or you email me questions, I want to hear your questions. I want to know what you want to know. And so we can learn together, grow together, and create a unity together in the light. And it is just such a special privilege for me to have this opportunity to share with you the experience and the wisdom that I've gained. And who doesn't want to talk about their favorite topic? Anything spiritual, I'm all about. I want to learn, I want to grow, and I learn through your questions. I learn through being a student and a master in life and its situations, because we're spirit beings doing a human experience, and through that human experience, we grow through the obstacles. We have to grow through it to go through it, and that is how we on the human design are able to thrive and flourish, because we understand how strong we are when we are in situations that create stress and de-stress within our being. And we have this beautiful power within us. We're all gifted with the gift of intuition. And to kick off this series, I am going to start with a mini series of 3 episodes speaking just on that topic, since we're building a relationship together and from the foundation and ground up. Why don't we start spiritually from the ground up? Everything revolves around our intuitive intelligence. Everything is intuition. Everything is energy. If you're looking to heal, it's about your intuitive guidance from your inner being that's helping you to heal, telling you the areas in which the source of what's not working from you is appearing in your life, rather than just hyper-focusing on the symptoms of what is happening. We're going to talk about the blockages. What is blocking our intuition? What is creating that static? Where is the discrepancy in our vibration that's creating us from trusting and believing our inner guide? As we grow through the different challenges in our experiences, we are often so consumed with what's happening in the mind, but we have 2 intelligence systems. We have the logic and we have our intuitive intelligence. And that's what we're really going to harness with this mini series, because episode 1, we're going to today talk about unlocking the power of your intuition. What is intuition? How does it communicate with us? What messages is it sending that we're not aware of? And it doesn't matter what level you are on your spiritual growth, our intuition, as our lessons grow, so does our intuitive field, our frequency expands as well. But sometimes it's hard to catch those messages. So we're going to learn the different systems that we are receiving messages through. We're going to learn how to overcome the blockages in the next session. And we're also then going to move into how do we trust it? How does it benefit us? How does it help us to have healthier relationship? How does it help us to attract to us what we are worthy of? How does it help us move through belief systems or patterns that are outdated and not working for us? So I am thrilled once again to have you here. So let's jump in and get started. Before we even start the lesson on intuition and unmasking the essence within you, your true essence, we're going to do a empowerment card. It's a guidance card that I created, this deck called Peace Warriors. I love tools. I love things that create a pathway to difficult situations, because often we feel very confused. Often we feel very overwhelmed. We're attached to the attachment of the outcome. Our mind has been so conditioned to just go into fear, go into worry as a source of making action happen, and it does nothing. Worry is an investment in the bankrupt company or the prayer that we do not want answered. So the Peace Warrior deck that I created was the deck I wish I had when I was first developing. And I was self-taught, and I can tell you I spent a lot of time questioning my sanity, questioning, was I making this up? Did I really have these gifts? And when I first started, over a decade or 2 decades ago, in my awakening, it was never to help anyone else. It was to develop my intuition and connect with my network of angels so that I could help myself, so I could get out of my own way, so I could trust those inner whispers that were leading me in a different direction. And through my own healing, through my own processes, I wondered, why the heck are they not teaching this in school? Why are we taught to conform? Why are we taught to just be a sheep? And I, for years, was told that I was oversensitive, that I was just overreacting, that I was told that what I felt was wrong. And really what I was feeling was a higher perspective than everyone else who was in the room. So that's why I want to support you. And that's what these cards are. They're support cards. And so we're going to start off this episode with a message from our angels and just see what it is, the guidance that we can take with us to go throughout the evening if you're listening at night, or go throughout your day. However, whenever you are listening to this, this is in alignment with your energy and your spirit. So we're just going to clear the deck, and through this podcast series, we're going to be talking about angels, talking about grief, talking about how do you heal the relationship patterns? How do you recognize patterns? What is the awarenesses that we need to know to help us get out of our own way? So the first thing we're going to do is just shuffle the deck, and I'm just going to ask, what is it that we need to know? Because we're all listening and we're all connected right now. Good. So the card is, it was a double, right? So 2 messages for today. The first one is Rock Your Roar, finding your voice. And this is a very powerful card, because often as people who have been highly sensitive or empathic, or have been feeling things, but have always been told that what they feel is not right, or they've taken other people's behaviors as a reflection of them. And often when the card Rock Your Roar comes up, it's not so much about speaking out to other people. Rocking your roar means to go inside and listen to that inner dialogue that you are telling yourself, because our outside voice is secondary. What we tell ourselves inside really is what creates our alignments to what we experience. So if hypothetically you say, I really want a healthy relationship, and you tell people, I'm ready for a relationship, I really want a relationship, but the inside voice that keeps ruminating throughout your thoughts is that it's never going to happen. You know, healthy relationships only happen for other people. It's like I attract all the crazy is attracted to me. I'm a magnet, right? So those, even sarcastic, and believe me, I love sarcasm. even those comments that we just make in passing, they hold a volume within us. And the more we do it unconsciously, the more the volume speaks unconsciously and creates our path of action. So Rock Your Roar is finding your inner voice, finding that voice that when that negative talk inside starts within you, that you take your power back and you say, you know what, stop. I am not going to allow me to talk down to me that way. Cancel, clear, delete, create a statement that is going to step you away from that negative comment and replace it with something good. In the beginning, you may not believe it, but the pattern of negative inner talk was created from a series of thoughts. So to break a pattern of negative thoughts, we have to replace it with a pattern of healthy thoughts. I am enough. My voice matters. However you connect and whatever you connect with, that is how you transform and you start believing your voice and share it then with the outside world. Because as we know, wounds create whips in other people. When we don't heal ourselves, the wounded parts of us create a wounded version of us and a wounded version of the experiences that we have outside of us. The next bonus card is called the Light Library. Access the light library within. The light library within is the wisdom within us. And I remember when I was first learning and, I would read, it's like the answers are within you. The answers are all within you. And I'm like, well, could someone give me a guide to how to unlock those answers? Because all I hear is confusion, exhaustion, and frustration. And now that I've obviously progressed in my journey, I couldn't agree with that more. The answers are within, but I'm going to teach you how to get them and not worry so much about the answers of what's happening in other people's lives, but taking intentional action to help you understand what's in your life and what is it that you are looking to access in the light library. It's our soul's library. And as we vibrationally shift and move from one phase of our consciousness to another phase of our consciousness, it's like we get access to more reading material, more books. People used to ask me over the years, like, how did you gain all this wisdom? Like, where did you learn it? And I actually learned it through raising my vibration, being in front of people, listening to them ask the questions, channel those questions back up to spirit, and then deliver the answers back. And that's how we can expand and grow. We have to start investigating ourselves to find out where it is the wisdom is at, because we know the polluted world outside of us has done a job on what we believe about us. So it brings us right into the access to our light library truly is through our intuition. And as we said, we're going into a foundation of building a relationship together, and any relationship we build with yourself starts through intuition. So our intuition is that inherent gift that we are all born with. When we come into this world, we have a fully balanced operating system. We are pure source. We have not been tainted by the world around us, opinions, beliefs, wounds, whips, whatever that is in the world around us. And when we come in as a newborn, we are a perfectly balanced, beautiful soul. And in that space, we are aware that all of our needs are accessible for us to be met. We cry when we're hungry. We smile when we're happy. We are unfiltered, and we are just in that state of pureness where we don't apologize for any of our actions, and we are completely in a connected human and spirit space. Spirit beings doing a human experience. And as newborns, we come fully equipped in exactly what we need for our journey through Earth School. So our intuition is our intelligence system that is the part of our spirit that we come into the world with. And it has all of the tools that we need to navigate the human experience of growing through life lessons. Now, on a soul level, we chose to experience what we are experiencing. And I know most of you may be thinking like, dear God, what was I thinking? Well, we are of soul, light, and energy, and it is a privilege to be in this human form. And when we are on the other side, we are in soul school. And when we come into the human form, we are in Earth School. But in human form, we're able to embody both the lessons that we've grown through on Soul School with the lessons in Earth School. So they work as a balanced team. Because our society has been so imbalanced, we've been told, shown, and ridiculed to shut that part of us down and not trust it. Because majority rules, and what has majority said? It's like, this is a small view of how we're supposed to live. It crippled our inner being from allowing us to trust it. So our intuition is an inherent gift of our intuitive intelligence spoken through our soul out through us, creating a harmony between our logic and our intuitive intelligence, creating us as a full, complete mind, body, spirit being, acting as a one unit light bridge from this world into the next. So it's very powerful. But because we're not shown to trust it and we're not shown to believe it, our ego has had a lot of airtime, and our ego is the part of us that has developed an identification around our personality, meaning our ego believes that we are the job we do. The ego may believe that it is not destined for greatness, right? We have programmed via, I want you to imagine your body, your brain as like a computer system, and through your experiences, whether you physically have gone through them or you have witnessed them, you now are downloading information from the environment around you and then coming up with programs, patterns, or conclusions that you're living out. Well, your intuition is pure. Your intuition is a clear channel of what you need to thrive and move through this journey. So when we are developing, listening, and growing into our intuition, because you've all experienced it on some level, our intuition speaks through our senses. And most people think that our intuition is our sixth sense. But in reality, our intuition is our first sense, because as we said previously, we're born with this intuitive ability to allow ourselves to be whole and trusting. And when we think about our senses, not everybody is born with the sense of smell, of taste, of sight, of hearing, but we all are born with a soul, and our intuition will use those five senses as indicators to get our attention. So you might have experienced something in the past where you have maybe walked into a room and felt the vibration off or the energy off, or met someone and not really felt a connection that everybody else in the room is feeling. You may have met someone and your stomach dropped, or you had a feeling about a situation that, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if this is good for me, right? So our intuition is our nurturer. It's our inner nurturer. It wants to care for us. It wants to protect us. It wants to nurture our whole entire being and guide us to the best outcomes. But because we were not trained or taught to trust that, it often goes missed. And usually we recognize those intuitive nudges after we have not listened. So you probably may have gotten a hunch about someone and not listened to that inner voice because you then created a story around it. You're like, oh, I don't want to be judgmental. Oh, I want to give someone a choice. So in doing so, after the relationship or the conclusion of the experience was not a positive one, we then go and beat ourselves up and be like, oh gosh, I knew what I knew. Why didn't I listen to myself? Unfortunately, when those events happen, we usually have amnesia, and then we keep hitting the repeat button and going on loop, 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 and so on. So when our intuition is speaking through our senses, we call it our clairs. Now, we have clairs that are clear seeing, clear feeling, hearing, smelling. Clairaudience means clear hearing. Clairescience is clear feeling. Claircognizance is clear knowing. Clairvoyant is clear seeing. So all of us have a clair that is strongest, but not all of us maybe are paying attention to all of the clairs working at once. As a professional intuitive, when I am hosting a session or doing a mentorship or communicating a lesson, all of my senses are used to gain information from either my intuition or in connecting with the intuition of the person who is across from me. So if you're allowing yourself permission for just this moment to say, I'm an intuitive being and I have the ability to receive messages, and just believe it for a moment, you shift your energy. But what happens is that a lot of times we want to believe it, but we are afraid to believe it. So how do you move through the fear? It's by allowing yourself for just this moment to believe it. I am an intuitive being. Think of an event. Think of a time when you got that intuitive pang. What happens, I see a lot of times when I'm coaching my students who are interested in potentially opening up a spiritual business, they create an attachment around their intuition, meaning they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to give someone bad advice. They don't want to guide someone wrong. So they create an attachment to someone else's journey, and that creates a static in receiving the intuitive messages that are coming through. So when we are understanding that if we step away and allow ourselves to just be that divine conduit, we will get the clear messaging that we need. So we're going to just learn real quickly. Step one is understanding that we have to shield our energy. Our spiritual hygiene is everything. And it's not about, I've met with people years ago who were like, it just blocks the connection. I want to be pure. No. Nope. Spiritual hygiene is step one, cannot go to step two, cannot go to step three, because if you fail to do step one, you will then really suffer in doing steps 2 and 3. What that means is shielding your energy is shielding your greatest bank account. The wealth you have is your energy. We focus so often on our physical bank accounts and what we have and how many people we have following us, how many blah, 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 right? No, what we should be focusing on is what is happening with our energy. What is happening in our vibrational bank account? Our worth is in our energy, because our energy is the conduit that drives everything that we are looking to create to come to fruition. Our energy is what creates every situation. And when you are intuitively receiving, it is imperative, it's essential that we have a clear space to work in. I want you to imagine you are in a restaurant and your phone rings, and this restaurant is like one of those small, really quaint places that like super loud, really good food, but you can't really hear the people who are sitting next to you or across from you too well, because the volume in the restaurant is really overwhelming. So now your phone rings and you go to answer it. It's very staticky. It's very difficult to make out who's on the other line and hear their clear message as to why they're calling. Now I want you to take that same situation and imagine your phone rings and you get up, go outside, and go into a phone booth. Answer your phone. You can hear clearly who is on the phone and what they're calling for. That is how our intuition works when we are shielded. When we are not shielded, we are basically in you're like a Swiffer of energy. You're just absorbing energy, consciously or unconsciously, around you, because everyone is energy and everything is energy. So when you are, especially if you're an empath, a sensitive person, you are now attaching and absorbing all of this energy that's not yours. Well, all of those other energies that are rolling at different frequencies will create static in you trusting, hearing, sensing, seeing, and receiving the intuitive information that is coming through to you. So when we shield our energy, I want you to just really look at it as you're shielding your energy just because you are caring about yourself. Self-love is shielding your energy. It's not because you're afraid. It's not because you don't want this person and this person. It is your energy or your fingerprints. Your soul's purpose is based off of your fingerprints. No one has your energy. Nobody has your fingerprints. Nobody has your life path. So it's imperative that you take intuitive action by surrounding yourself in the light. And how do you do this? I work with Archangel Michael, a simple everyday shielding practice which will amplify your ability to receive intuitively is by saying, Archangel Michael, shield and protect me. There's numerous different um, uh, exercises that you can do. Even if you visit my website, you can also download a free guide for spiritual hygiene, and it gives you different tools to ground yourself, how to dissolve cords of attachment, and also different practices to shield your energy. And it's the intention. It doesn't have to be a long ritual. It's the intention behind it. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for bubbling me up. Shield and protect me. In that space, what am I? I am observant. I am not absorbent. That allows me to receive the information and have confidence that this is my information. If you have everyone else's energy running through you, most likely you are getting like 3 to 4 different phone calls interrupting into your system. It's frequencies that are coming through that are not in alignment with yours and that are not in your messaging system. And so what that does, it allows you to more efficiently move through transitions. It helps you to do a self-investigation to understand where in my world am I creating patterns, what needs to shift, what needs to change. So shielding is number one. And it is, again, we are holding sacred with an act of self-love and shielding and protecting our being. The next step is when you are intuitively connecting with yourself. Often we will be afraid of the answers because instinctually we know what we know, but often we don't want to know it. So in allowing yourself to say, I am open and I have a willingness to be willing to listen. And that knowing in that willingness that no changes have to be made. But all you're doing is doing active listening. And then with your free will, you get to decide how you choose to move forward. How you choose. Are you comfortable being uncomfortable? That's your free will choice. Are you uncomfortable being uncomfortable? Well, that's your free will choice. So intuition helps us and guides us. It's not forcing you to do anything. However, it is always good to know what you know. And then you can make a decision based off of that. And your awareness will expand as to the steps to do it. After we are shielding ourselves, committing, and it's like, you know what, I'm good listening. Now, how do we hear? How do we sense? How do we feel? So the ego, which sometimes people say is not your amigo, but in that space where your ego is, ego often interferes with our intuitive voice because the two voices speak very differently, right? When our ego is speaking, it is often very indecisive. It's confused, it's indecisive, it is most likely negative, most likely it is based off of past experiences, and it is not offering a very supportive environment for you to move in other directions. And remember, we are the ones who programmed that ego to feel like it needs to survive. It's always on the lookout to avoid anything that will create us to feel embarrassed, shame, unsafe, whatever we have cataloged in that ego, in that system within us, that program. It is going to repeat back to us what we have put into it of something not being safe, something not being good for us, keeping us stagnant and still. The voice of your intuition will always speak with gentleness and will always be very decisive. So think about a time you may have heard an idea or a thought come through repetitively. That is your intuition speaking. Your intuition will never tell you to harm someone. Your intuition will never tell you to do anything that will harm you. It will never tell you to, go rob a bank because you need money. It will never tell you that hurting this person will help you. It will never lead you in a space where it is creating a low vibrational experience. Your intuition will be consistent. It will be loving. It will be nurturing. And usually when your intuition is giving guidance in the beginning, and sometimes when we're very confused, it will be just very subtle words. So if I was to say, ask yourself right now, shield and protect your energy, Archangel Michael, shield the listeners. What do I need to know? And just breathe. Now, instantly, there may be a moment of silence, or you may hear an answer right away. Your ego needs 3 to 5 seconds to ramp up to gather the question. But when your intuition is speaking, it comes through your thoughts. It comes through a feeling, a knowing, but not knowing why. Typically, that's claircognizance. And when your intuition is speaking in that claircognizance, we often dismiss it because we think, oh, well, I made that answer up. The first answer you get is the answer. If you get 5 to 6 answers after that first question, what is it I need to know? That is your ego speaking. Because again, your ego creates confusion. The ego creates a uncertainty. It creates us to feel fear. When intuitive inspiration and guidance comes through us, it's going to feel foreign because typically it will lead us into the path less traveled. Now, often we are used to kind of staying in this like box or staying in this safe zone. So when our intuitive inspiration comes through to us and it feels like it's taking us in a completely different direction than we're in, I want you just to breathe that in for a second. Because if we quickly take it over to the logic and try to reason with it, the logic is going to shut it down. Because again, the logic was created to have facts. And our spirit thinks that we are so much more capable and knows that we are here for greatness. So it will take us out of what we know that is keeping us small. And it will inspire us through consistency and messaging to keep moving forward and just believing. And intuitive inspiration and invitations, I'm going to put this, it speaks a lot differently than how we as humans digest plans, right? So often if there's an idea that we have, right? So it's like we have to plan it out from A to Z. And then only will we take action when we have the whole plan done. That is how the logic works. Intuition works very differently. First comes the idea, the inspiration, the consistency of it. That's like giving you the letter A in the alphabet. Now, you then take A and you start accepting A and saying, you know what? I really would like to change directions. I really would like to experience something else. I really would like to have a healthy relationship. I really would like to have a career that feels fulfilling. I really would like to travel and not feel so afraid or responsible. But how do I do that? So this inspiration comes through to you. That's letter A. And as you sit with letter A, you're like, you know what? A letter A feels really nice. That feels really, really nice. Like, I really would like that. Then intuition supports you by giving you letter B. And with every letter of A, of B, of C, you become more confident. You become more believing. You become more willing and excited for the next letter to be presented to you. Because what that does, it gives you a vibrational lift that is taking you from what you know and is moving you into what you deserve. And it's doing it gently, and it's doing it with love, and it's doing it with compassion. Because if I told you, hey, your whole life is going to change in front of your eyes, and I want you to start with letter G, you're going to backpedal. You're going to run away from that, and you're going to stay in that discomfort of comfort that you know, because letter G seems so big. It seems so scary. But if you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it feels like you've accomplished. It makes you feel capable. So whatever shift that you're experiencing right now, if everything feels heavy and confusing because the life around us is under construction, our lives are under construction. Why? Because Spirit is speaking, and it's speaking up through your intuition. Our mind is programmed to say, be afraid, everything's going to change, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose this, Spirit will never, ever, ever, your soul will never take from you to leave you abandoned. So it is not about losing, it's about gaining and earning and accepting what you are worth. And that is such a great gift. So in the next episode, we are going to talk about intuitive blockages and how we move through them, because all the systems could be set up, and we're really working on that divine muscle, really pressing those intuitive weights and building our strength and our belief and trusting in those muscles. But things could be blocking us, and they can be unconscious blockages. So in the next episode, we're going to dive in and learn how to uncover the blockages and move through them with ease and grace. So I am Colleen St. and thank you for joining me on this first episode of Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. Thank you for tuning in and joining Colleen St. on this transformation journey. If you have any questions, insights, or topics that you'd like to engage or ask, please visit www.colleenstmichaels.com under the podcast page of Ask Colleen to submit your question. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Have a beautiful day.